Hi everyone, Gluthany Stick Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for another installment of List Week, where, I'm listing out albums, singles, all that stuff. In this video, as you should know because you clicked on it, I'm listing out my top 15 worst songs of 2021, and all these tracks are awful to some degree, maybe so awful they're entertaining, and sometimes just so awful I don't want to listen to them at all. But either way, they are in this list and linked down below so you can listen to them for yourself. And let's get into the list. Bam! Starting with number 15, Grimes, Player of Games, her latest single at the time of recording this video. And it's laughably bad, generic instrumental, really basic vocals for her as well, super reverby and buried in the beat, no flavor to it whatsoever, just not really quite as special or as futuristic as she sort of implies her art to be much of the time. And lyrically, the track is really where it dishes out most of its cringe, as the entire song is kind of her missing and simping for Elon Musk. In so many ways, I feel like it pumps up his ego and paints him as like this megalomaniacal, powerful, manipulative being when he's just a rich freak with well-to-do parents that had an emerald mine. And he should just be considered as such. At number 14, we have Jimmy Fallon, Megan Thee Stallion, and Ariana Grande on his Masked Christmas track, which is a painful and obnoxious reminder of what the pandemic has taken from us. It's really enough to turn you QAnon. The production is disgusting, generic, pop Christmas pap. Ariana Grande vocally is asleep at the goddamn wheel. Megan Thee Stallion has her real commercial flow on. Really nobody sounds like they want to be there. Even if Jimmy Fallon is kind of hype about the track, his vocals are pitched to the point where just any vocal flavor, any human tone or timbre is kind of just removed from them completely. I get they were really trying to make a statement here in terms of, COVID and masks and Christmas and all that, but the whole thing just ended up sounding like an exercise in the disgusting ways in which this pandemic, capitalism, and everything else has destroyed the heart and soul of this holiday. Following this at number 13, we have Drake with Way Too Sexy. Future on the track, Young Thug on the track, and in my opinion, this track is not sexy at all. It's annoying, it's trash, the lyrics are horrible, the Right Said Fred sample is awful, beat is cheap, Young Thug on the back end sounds like he is just not really wanting to be there. And despite the fact that it's a Drake song, it's really Future that makes the hook anyway. So it's just a terrible, obnoxious, trash pop rap song. Really the worst pop rap song of the year as far as the mainstream goes by quite a few miles. I think it's one of Drake's worst singles ever as well. And just kind of a reflection of how trash CLB was overall, that this is like, the most relevant track from it. This is Drake creatively at his peak in this album cycle, and it just does not hold a candle to any of his major previous singles. At number 12, we have MGK with Papercuts, just more awful sad boy rock with a pop punk flair from MGK, with more of like, his worst lyrics ever, talking about being a punk, getting paper cuts from the industry and contracts and all that. It's just really unflattering and sad, and just kind of continues to show MGK's lack of self-awareness. The lyrics are awful, the instrumental is generic, and MGK, I think, is just a blight on pop punk and punk in general at the moment. And track is terrible. Number 11, Walker Hayes, Fancy Like. I dislike this track for a couple reasons. One, it is annoying. It's really annoying. Annoying because the idea of getting fancy at the Applebee's is just really trashy and really obnoxious. But also, it's really difficult to engage in any kind of satire or parody of country music or rednecks, because when you're talking about tracks like this, when you have songs like this, they're just really beyond parody. What do you make fun of here? This is a joke. This is a joke, sir. And the other reason I think I don't really like it is because, it's just kind of a show of When I originally said that we were at or nearing peak trap, I guess I was wrong, because at the time, trap music had very much like infected hip hop from top to bottom, and also like, pop music to a large extent, which I thought was, going to be the case for a while, but I did not see it seeping this far into like some of the most major and most influential pop country hits. This track is essentially like a country trap song with the booming fucking sub bass and everything. And honestly, like, I think that combo instrumentally and aesthetically is pretty awful. At number 10, it's Tones and I Won't Sleep. Awful, trash, cartoony production, shitty boom whacker fucking melodies, and some of the worst vocals that you will ever hear in any pop song ever. That is this Tones and I song, and on top of it, it's trying to be really creepy and really dramatic and theatrical, and it just ends up painfully cringe in the process. I do not like Tones and I do not like it in the car, I do not like it near or far, I do not like it on a tree, I do not like it in my sleep, I do not like it in a house, I do not like it with a mouse, I do not like it anywhere, I do not like it, I don't care. At number 9, it is a shout out to Amy Bibabi. Bibabi is a Dutch rapper who popped off this year on YouTube with this track Chin Up High, which has some of the most peculiar refrains of any hip-hop song this year. I wanna party till I die. Yeah, the rapping is really awkward. The beat is quite cheap and underwhelming. The music video is very odd as well. It's just a very odd song all around, but still quite catchy too. It's cringe, yeah, but it's also fun. And, I wish her all the luck in the world with trying to pop off with another viral hit. Regardless of what you think of Amy and her music, her rapping, I do think she brought some much needed levity to the internet this year, and I hope she can continue bringing smiles to the faces of those who come across her tracks in the future. At number 8, it is Miss Red Dress herself, Sarah Brand, with the track Red Dress. This track is a bit of a folky, singer-songwritery, Taylor Swift-influenced piece of social commentary with a surreal, nightmarish music video, and a vocal style that I could only call atonal. Yeah, the singing on this track is definitely something else, and I think Miss Brand has definitely branded herself as quite the outsider artist off of this track and another that she dropped this year as well. And yeah, I think we have a bright future here, hopefully, for one of the most out there and I think multi-layered songwriters that's growing on the internet right now. So Sarah Brand, Red Dress, awful but intriguing track over here. At number 7, I have much less respect for this new Kid Rock track. Don't Tell Me How to Live, featuring Monster Truck. Kid Rock is melting those snowflakes on this new track. He's sounding dumber than ever, with lyrics that just kind of serve as a reminder as to why many of us stopped listening to him. There's numerous bars on this thing that make absolutely no sense, but I think the most telling of them on this track is when Kid Rock says that he's a devil without a cause. You heard him say it. That's the tagline, devil without a cause. He's that guy. But when you're making an anti-woke song, when you're trying to make a social statement with your music, you are kind of taking up a cause, but I would agree that there's not really any point to it, as he kind of insinuates inadvertently with the lyric there. It's all like a very hollow expression. It's a virtue signal to many of the people in his audience that he thinks already listened to him and are already down with his vibe. He's just kind of throwing them some red meat, as he has always across his career, because Kid Rock is not some rootin' tootin' trailer park redneck, some crazy Detroit guy. He grew up a rich kid. So there you go. Kid Rock, new track is shit. At number 6, we have another guy who's very COVID skeptical, and that's the great Eric Clapton with the song This Has Gotta Stop. If you ever wanted to hear a boomer whining and crying about, the pandemic and lockdowns put into song, that's pretty much this. And Eric Clapton is crying so fucking hard on this track, he can't stop fucking quivering and shaking with emotion as he sings lines like, "This has gotta stop, you're gonna break down this door." The whole song just sounds like shitty, gentrified elevator blues rock, bland instrumentation, terrible vocals, awful sentiment, and on top of it, he's really a dick. You know, he has such a long track record of being like one of the biggest dicks in rock music. The most recent thing on his rap sheet is that he successfully sued a woman for selling a bootleg CD of his music on eBay for like £8. So, what a dick. All right, at 5, we have Hobo Johnson with I Want to See the World, which after I heard it made me so much less interested in seeing the world. But yeah, there's really something missing on this track. And look, I get it. Most people have always hated Hobo Johnson's music, and you might look at me and say like, you know, what exactly about this track do you feel like made things worse when his music was worse before? I mean, you know, yeah, Hobo Johnson's last stuff was kind of whiny and kind of cringy, but I liked that he was kind of vulnerable with it. On this track, I think the instrumental is not only awful, his vocals sound really odd and squeaky and like even more awkward than they have in the past. I find the lyrics on this one really difficult to stomach as he kind of comments in curious ways about various locations and cultures and struggles that just sort of seem very out of touch and tactless. Yeah, I just think the track is in very poor taste, and it's just difficult to listen to as a result of that, on top of just the instrumental vocals and everything musically with it going to total crap. At number 4, how could we forget one of the biggest musical sensations of the year, Flyysoulja, I'm an Island Boy. Of course, here I'm talking about, like, you know, the official, proper, commercial produced song they recently put out, which of course is like the mastering and the distortion on it, the compression on this track is shit. It's like, it sounds like white noise. It's totally awful. It's unlistenable. Whoever produced this track and like finalized it really fucked the fuck up. They must have either like gotten paid nothing or hated listening to this song so many times that they had to like master it. Like, it just sounds like shit. And on top of that, of course, like, you know, that awful I'm an Island Boy that we've heard like in so many viral videos and remixes of them in the camera doing their Island Boy shit. You know, that of course makes up the melody and the lyrics of the song. So, you know, hearing it with a beat doesn't really make it any easier to listen to or stomach. They're just like a really bad cringy meme right now that everybody seems to be listening to and engaging with, because cringe can be entertaining to a degree, and the Island Boys certainly are cringe, but they seem like self-aware about it enough to take advantage of the meme while it's popping off, and I highly doubt they'll be able to offload it into any other kind of venture in the future, but hey, they're gonna try. So look, in 2022, I am very much looking forward to the DJ Khaled produced Island Boys record with Tory Lanez on it as well. Yeah, that should be hot. At number 3, we have Guns N' Roses with ABSUYD. Easily one of the band's worst songs ever. My God, is this awful. The mix is shit. Guitar distortion sounds like shit. The vocals kind of vary between these high-pitched, soaring King Diamond-esque falsettos, but then also these very abrasive, like, screamed, ranting, spoken word sections that have almost like a British accent on them. So that's trash. Songwriting is awful too. This is just terrible from front to back. One of the worst rock songs I've heard this year from a band that, you know, given their legacy, you should have some kind of like high expectation of, but this is one of the cheapest, most awful sounding songs I think Guns N' Roses have ever put out. And yeah, it's really embarrassing. They should not have dropped this. Next, at number 2, we have a song from one of the most consequential bands in pop punk at the moment. That's Tramp Stamps, the trio that popped off on TikTok, and their song I'd Rather Die, which is, you know, about not wanting to sleep with straight white guys, which is fine. I mean, I'm obviously not feeling like personally attacked about that or anything. It's just a painfully edgy song trying to be as controversial and as polarizing as possible. And, you know, look, Tramp Stamps got the controversy. They really did. But did they get it in the way that they were hoping for? No, they really did not. And I think with this track and some of their other singles as well, they kind of lit off a bomb here, but then the explosion was like way bigger than I think anybody could have anticipated. It's quite unfortunate that things played out the way that they did, but hey, at least at the end of it, we still have I'd rather die, I'd rather die, the sleep was through a guy. Yeah, I mean, even for somebody who sympathizes with the plight of people that have to deal with, you know, dudes just being really bad at sex, this thing is awful to listen to. It's just a trash song and cringe and terrible, and I hope everybody has learned a lesson here. That's what I hope. I hope everyone's learned a lesson. Oh, and then at number one, the number one worst song of the year, I had to give it to the man. The Feld man. The Feld god. He's just got that magic touch! Corey Feldman, Rockin' Revolution. Man, nobody knows how to write a bad track like Corey, and I feel bad putting this song here because I know that putting this song here will increase the tensions between Corey and I, when in actuality, I just want to be friends and I want to see Corey live at a show one day, and I just want to have a rockin' revolution at one of his concerts. But this is just one of his worst songs. One of his worst songs. He's like outdoing himself with the gravelly vocals, and all the instrumentation sounding fucking out of whack and out of tempo and out of tune, and the whole thing aesthetically and stylistically feeling like if AC/DC tried to record an album on a massive amount of LSD. And just the sentiment of the track too is hilarious. Just like, you know, being fed up with the system. He's like really like rebelling. He's raging against the machine in only the way that Corey Feldman can on this track. It's like, you know, bad, but bad in such a way where it's special, bad in such a way where it's entertaining, bad in such a way where you really do appreciate Corey Feldman as a treasure. He's not even trying to make bad music, and he's doing it so effortlessly. Corey Feldman continues to be amazing and special, and an angel, a god of awful music. And yeah, you know, that's it. That's the list. That is my list of my top 15 worst songs of 2021. Transition. Have you given any of these songs a listen? Do you love them? Do you hate them? What would you rate them? You're the best, you're the best. What should I list next? Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, top 15 worst songs 2021 forever.